Hi, my name is Aiden Vargo, and he's Connor Bishop. He's Christian Magness, and we're today interviewing Mr. Deiter. Can you share a bit about your background as a business person and what led your transition into teaching?
I actually was in the retail world mostly, and I was anything from a store manager through an executive vice president running operations for a company. Actually, Build-A-Bear Workshop, I was third in command in the operating side of the world. So I ran the United States and the UK for that company. I had a lot of great experience, and I was blessed to meet a lot of good people. Probably the highlight was David Goggins. Most people around here know who he is, and there were just so many that I value. I'm not a celebrity gawker. However, those people have insight and wisdom that offered me a ton in my career. So basically, as you evaluate what you value as a person, I know what I value. I value impact. And one way I could impact is definitely coach full time, but also be a teacher. I tell my wife every day before we leave the house, impact one person. If that's my focus, then I'm going to impact quite a few of them.
So, you talk about being that high class. How do you incorporate your previous businesses with, how you teach in like the classroom?
Yeah, really good question, man. There's a lot of skills that are parallel from teaching to business. One is planning. You have to do lesson planning. You have to plan when you're going to grade. You have to plan. I plan on the weekends for the week to make sure that the students get the best experience that they can get. Positive leadership. It's easy to be positive to me. I mean, it takes just as much energy to be negative as it does to be positive. So why not choose positive? The next one's follow up. Every student's somebody. I think it's very important to follow up with a kid from an academic perspective. That helps not only them in life, but them be better people. Self-discipline. I'm always one of the first three teachers here, many times the first. I work a couple hours every weekend. In business, I work 365 days a year, and so my motor's high. So self-discipline to make sure that you're in control of everything that you're doing as a teacher is pretty critical. And the last one is decision making. We get a lot of opportunities. Everyone does to make decisions every day. And to me, a great teacher and a great business person makes the decision in the gray. There's a lot of black and white decisions. Someone does something, they get in trouble, what have you. That's easy. But it's the gray decisions. And if you're good at that, you're going to be successful as a teacher as well as a business person.
You talk about being a manager and third in command in Build-A-Bear. So what pursued you to go from being in business to kind of being in education field?
So it's an interesting tie. I worked with a lot of kids. I wasn't a typical executive. I actually, as the executive vice president, would administer the parties in a store. I would get on the stuffer and stuff animals for kids. And so I automatically knew I was drawn to the youth and the future. This isn't boasting or what have you. I'm just incredibly humbled every day when a student comes up to me and says, you helped me. I don't make this very public, but I do a lot of volunteering and give my time back to the community. You got to find a hobby when you become a teacher and you actually do have a balanced schedule. Not chasing profit or sales. That was my forte. I knew how to make a company profitable. That's hard because, you don't do that in teaching. There's no money grab. My profit, quite honestly, as I mentioned earlier, is the reward I get by students, enjoying their interaction with me. In the business world, the audience is much more attentive. Now, you don't have them as long. You might have a one-time-a-week conference call and maybe a meeting or what have you, but they're much more attentive. So it was a big challenge to say, how can I get the students, all students, to take interest? And how you overcome that is participation, build trust, make sure the students know that, you have their best interest in mind.
You talk about having a big impact on others. Who was that big impact for you coming up? Who inspired you, like when you were young and made you come into business and then eventually coming into teaching?
Yeah, so I would say it started with my parents, like a lot of you guys. My father, he was a judge, and he always believed doing what's right and doing the best you can at whatever you're doing. You could be a janitor, you could be a CEO, you could be a mailman, you could be a teacher, whatever you could be the best that you can be. So that was a big inspirational piece from him. Students inspire me now, quite honestly, athletes and students. I mean, I don't like calling people out, but, Drew Helton's work ethic to get him a Division I scholarship. He wasn't on that path, and that's impressive to me as students and athletes work hard, share their ideas, and inspire me, quite honestly.
I have a question that isn't on this, but it just kind of came to the top of my head. What do you say to people who want to get into volunteering like you do, but they don't know necessarily where to start, especially kids like our age here? What would you say is some tips?
I would say the same thing that I answered coming to teaching. What do you value? What's your passion in life? Find that. If it's animals, start with the Humane Society. Start with networking with those that you know. Many teachers around here will help. A lot of us volunteer. I think it's a great thing to do, number one, for your own self-benefit, but more so for the community. So I don't know. That was kind of a roundabout answer. I'd say network, number one. Find out what you're passionate about in that network, and then truly offer your time. You got to know there's some sacrifices in it, but the sacrifice is rewarding in the end.
I've got just one final thing. Do you ever feel that it is too late to start your business journey, no matter how old you are or your education?
No, it's interesting. I had a story the other day. Some people were in my classroom, and it was in a passing period, and one of them told me that their dad started a new business venture at 56 years old. Maxine Clark at Build-A-Bear started hers at 46. We got that company from nothing to a $1.3 billion business. So I don't ever think it's too late, especially if you have a passion around it. Again, I hate to keep echoing that, but when you have a passion about something, it's amazing how far down the road you can get.
Well, thank you for coming out and, sitting down with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. I mean, couldn't have been with three better students, and I enjoy speaking with all three of you guys. So I appreciate the time, and thanks for letting me share my thoughts.